Hello, hello, it's Katsapanta, and I'm coming to you from Costa Rica. It's dark, and there's not a lot of bugs today. And today we have a really awesome topic. If you've been tuning into Pura Vida Project Hangouts, we are a community of entrepreneurs, and we talk about, what it takes to follow your dreams, what it takes to make your dreams into reality. And I can see my screen is changing. My internet is a little bit wonky today. We had like a huge storm last night. Um, but I'm really happy we have Poe on the panel today, and Poe always shares amazing insights. And we have a new panelist today, Amy. And Amy, this is actually her first hangout, and she just recently joined our community. So we're going to be talking a lot about vision, what it means about aligning yourself with people that can help you with your vision. That's something in my throat. So I'm gonna actually pass it over to Poe first and get her kind of started with this and see, what has been your experience? Because I know, Poe, you've shared your story, and you really have a lot of experience with what it's like to try to build a business by yourself versus starting to work with people and aligning with a community that, has a vision. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely, Kat. For those that don't know, for probably the last 2 years until recently, I was working extremely hard to get launching for a online fashion marketplace. I mean, I have a real passion for supporting fashion designers, artists, artisans, jewelry makers, and that's why I wanted to start it. And the thing is, I was being advised around me, go do a business plan. I mean, that's the way to do it. Go get an investor. That's the way to do it. And so, yeah, went down that path for 10 months. It was a lot of hard work. It was tedious. And yes, I had a few people come in and out helping me, but it never stuck. They kind of sort of shared the vision, but they had their own stuff going on, and so that didn't go anywhere. And I was starting to question, if I was an investor and a large portion of the business plan is about marketing, would I be a desirable candidate? I mean, yeah, okay, I can somehow show them that I'm enthusiastic and I've got a great mindset and everything, but what skills am I going to bring to the table? I mean, I don't know how to do a business, and I don't really know how to market either. And I know, even just using common sense, if you don't know how to market, and if people do not see your product or your website, you're a goner. That's it for your business. I mean, there's no mincing words here. It's true. And I think that's when I started to open my eyes, when Kat came into the picture in January this year. She has some mutual friends, and she started messaging me and telling me about what she was doing and doing online marketing, so on and so forth. And I thought, brilliant, she'll give me some great ideas for my business case. Wonderful. And she did. She gave me heaps of great insights. And I was watching all her webinars. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, she's made it a lot more simpler and everything. But I was fixated. I got to do the business plan. And marketing, I still somehow think it must be boring. Like, there was no evidence of that. I just came to the conclusion it's this boring SEO stuff, all this technical mumbo jumbo. Uh, Marketing's not for me. It's not for me. But as time went on, I was spending a lot of time uh, reflecting and realizing the whole business plan process didn't feel great at all, and just there was something off about it. It just didn't feel like the next logical step. And so what I decided to do was really observe what it is that Kat and Romeo were doing. I went onto their websites, I asked them a ton of questions. I was exploring and I was really getting the true answers as opposed to listening to my preconceived notions. And the thing is, about vision, these guys align with my vision because I'm all about helping people, adding value, making true, authentic connections. Whereas in my mind, all I ever saw, and people did approach me about online marketing, all I ever was seeing is people with an agenda, people that just wanted to make a sale quickly, but they didn't want to connect with me, really. And I just thought they were a whole bunch of spammers and they weren't about being real here. But then I was seeing how these two were doing it and I thought, okay, there's something different about these guys and they're getting really good results. I think I need to open up my mind and listen to what they're doing. And as I went deeper and deeper, I thought, okay, yep, enough. This makes sense. I need to know how to market. That's the only way I'm going to be able to either impress an investor in the future if I want to go down that path, or even find my own solution to investing in myself. But the point is, the fact that these guys are about helping other people make their dreams come true and they're genuine about it, I'm sold. I'm sold. I mean, I don't need to ask any more questions. I mean, these guys have done it. That's why I call aligning. And the thing is, you know, we've got this awesome mastermind going on. And yeah, it's about building leaders. It's about people that are ready to stand up and make it count in their lives and are ready to do something, ready to make their dreams come true and not sit on the sidelines. I mean, I think people think that they've got like 10,000 years left on this planet, but people, hello, you'll be lucky to have 30, 40 more. I mean, at some point, people have to do something and take some massive action. So best way to start is find those people that align with you, share the same vision, and just go for it. So yeah, that's my rant for now, Kat and Amy.
I love it. I love it. I love like your passion, and you know it's funny because I know you've shared your story before, and it's kind of funny because I think you have to get used to sharing it a lot because this is kind of like that turning point. Like we have that as well, and I'm just you know it's a really powerful thing to be able to start connecting and you know like we say this word mastermind, right? And maybe some people don't really understand what that means. Well, it's just become part of my vocabulary, right? It kind of I read about it first in Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, and really it means that you align with people that you're in harmony with and work towards the same goal, you know, the same vision. And it doesn't mean that, you know, you have the exact same business or the exact same whatever product you want to create or service you want to provide. No, it's more about the principles behind it, you know, the foundation that it's built on. And everything that Poe said, you know, the reason that we connected was because she was actually looking for people that were genuine, right? And she mentioned that people had already approached her about, you know, different ideas about getting involved with internet marketing, right? But it was like a spammy approach, and there was no, the bugs are coming. There was no, there was no connection at all. And you know, what I've learned over the past, like, you know, 2.5 years of being involved with online marketing is that marketing is really just relationships. It's really about connecting. And it's kind of taken on this different word with different people, and people think marketing, it's so salesy, or it's so, it's just about selling. It's about being like almost like maybe I don't know if it's. I know I had some personal thoughts about this, but like being like a sleazy salesman, right? And I hated it. Like I hated that idea. And even though I went through my own challenges where I kind of tried to be that way, and it felt very unnatural for me, I realized that it's really about being yourself, right? And the cool thing is that when we work in this kind of community mastermind setting with people where everyone, because it's really not like it's the vision is that you want to be your best self, right? And it's based on authenticity, it's based on honesty, and it's really based on helping others, right? And I know people talk about that, and it kind of sounds like this, like I like the word Paul always uses, woo-woo. It's like this woo-woo thing, right? Okay, you want to help people. What does that really mean for you, though? And I found that every person has something in them, and you know what that is? It's their story. Because there's things that I've personally experienced in my life that I've overcome, and when I share those things, I am able to connect with people that have similar challenges, that maybe haven't overcome those challenges yet, and I can help them and show them how. And every single person, yourself included, that's watching, has something in you, has some story in you, and that is the value that you bring. There's a quote that your life's purpose is to find your gift and then to give it away. And that's what it's about, right? And I struggled with this for a long time because I was afraid to share my story. I was afraid to be myself, and so I tried to take on these roles of being like other people, right? But until I realized and finally began to share my real story about myself, right? That's when people started connecting and started messaging me, and I started to bring in people into my life that had a similar vision, right? About being their authentic selves. And this is what we get to do, like Pura Vida Project. What is Pura Vida? Pura Vida is, that real life, that pure life, right? That essence, and it's like an essence in it, and it's the essence of you, and that's how I approach it. That's why we created this, and we have such huge big dreams and goals for this, where we can work even closer with entrepreneurs and help them to overcome the challenges that we've overcome, right? And so, people like Poe come in, and she has experience working, trying to build a business, and now it's like everything, her results like the past few weeks have just been monumental. And why is it that, she's like, for example, she's built up a fan page of 700 plus, which will soon be 800, because every week she adds like at least 100 likes in there, and it's all organic. And she's created this community seemingly overnight. Like, it really looks like it's overnight. It takes a lot of work, of course, and Poe is just like pure massive action taker. But she's created a community of wildly connected people that are engaged with her content. And this is a marketing skill. It's not about being salesy. That's the funny part here. And she's totally brought in people into her life that are her audience, that she brings value to, and they also bring value into her life. And it's just been incredible to watch. It's just been amazing, right? And it's like all of these things that she was doing before, now it's like implementing these action steps and the training and the mentorship and the community aspect and going out and actually doing it. She's created this incredible thing, and it's exciting. Like, it's what makes me passionate, and that's why I love what I do. And now we have Amy, and Amy just hopped on. This is like literally her first Google Hangout. Okay, I can remember my first Google Hangout, and I don't know, Amy, how you feel, but I was like, my stomach hurt for like hours. I was shaky and nervous and stuff, and this was like a couple of years ago. And it took a while. It took a few hangouts, but I have a feeling you don't feel that way. I think because you're at a stage where, Amy just did something really crazy. So I want you actually to share your story and what you've kind of been through just recently and the decisions you've made and all that. I'm really excited to have you share. So let me just, okay, I think you're on. Okay, wait, sound is off. Hello?
No, not hearing
I don't know,
anything.
because I muted it before because there was this feedback. On your phone, is there an unmute button or something? Like for the Hangout. Dang, I messed up.
Hello?
Oh, there
Yep.
she is.
Oh, awesome,
Hi.
awesome. Good, you're on.
Okay, clearly this is my first hangout. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm on my cell phone, so instead of my tablet as planned, so it's like shaky and awkward. But anyway, hi. Can you
Just,
all hear me okay?
just, just bring it a little bit closer. Your speaker mic thing.
Hello?
Yes.
I want
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so I am here in Arizona, and it's really warm. I was telling Poe right before we came on. It's warm like all the time, as expected. So I actually moved here last December for my corporate job, and I thought it was an exciting adventure to go on because I'm adventurous and um, a dreamer. So I was like, heck yeah, I'll go to Arizona and see what that's all about. And then I got here, and it was still a corporate job. I was still required to go and sit at a desk every day and stare at two giant screens and listen to the phone ring and um, it just didn't align at all with what I wanted in my life, and I was actually starting to get like really sick because of it. So I actually found Cat and Romeo in July, and I started following them, and I think it just came on like as a suggested page for me. I think that's how I found you guys, which is really funny because I really believe that the universe works in magical ways. And so I started like following them and started asking questions. I sent them an email and I kept saying, I'm going to pay off my student loans and then save up a little bit of money and then I'll start this business. Well, it got to the point where I was like, screw this. I'm done with this corporate life. I can't handle it. I gave a 1 month notice. And my last day was August 29th in the office.
Woo!
Um, yeah. And it's been wonderful so far. Like I'm not gonna lie, I feel like my soul is like resting a little bit. So I've done a lot of sleeping, which is good because I can, I'm in a position where I can, and kind of giving myself some self-care, winding down out off of being in a 9 to 5 job. Um, but I feel like things are starting to really take shape and take form. Like I know, like I had my fan page up for a while, but today I just went in there and really started to do like the descriptions. When I actually started writing things down, I had spoken to Kat and Romeo at the beginning of the week and told them kind of my idea, my dream. And then today, when I actually started writing about it, I was like, that's not right at all. I mean, it was close. It was close, but I ended up defining it a little bit more today, and I'm really excited because people. My biggest problem um, was finding passion in my life and finding a purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing outside of what society tells me to do because I definitely don't fit into society, which is fine. I like that. But then I had to figure out what it was I was gonna do, and so all of a sudden I realized today I was like, holy cow! With Kat and Romeo backing me up, I can help people find that purpose. I can help them dig because I was there. I was there just 6 months ago where I was just completely broken and devastated. And I've had a lot of shifts in my psyche and a lot of shifts physically. And so I'm kind of at the point now where I'm ready to like jump in and help others figure out what the Hades you're doing on this earth. Like, why are we here? Like we have to be here. Is it really to go work for 40 hours a week in someone else's goal? I don't think so. So, that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm slowly building my fan page, taking all of they pretty much gave me like step-by-step instructions at the beginning of the week, and I've just been slowly working on each of those steps and asking questions along the way. And the more I do it, like the more excited I am. Where before I was clearly there was some fear, and fear is okay, but I jumped anyway because that's my style. Um, and so I'm just kind of learning to use my wings on the way down, and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of where I'm at today.
That is awesome. I love it. I'm just so excited for you. Whoa, big bug here. Here, I'll show you.
Oh my
What the?
I absolutely, I love that quote. Go, go. I love that quote about, jumping and then building your wings on the way down. And it's funny because, Poe did the same thing, and Romeo and I did the same thing. And here we are, following our dreams and kind of in different parts of our journey, but we have to, I think maybe this is kind of crafting next week's hangout. What is that defining factor? What is that defining factor of people that never make that jump versus people that do and actually, make things happen in their life and, as we say, do epic shit. I'm just gonna mute you out, Amy, for a moment. There's just some feedback. But yeah, like I just, sometimes it's the mic, and I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. Kind of a funny hangout today, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's just, this idea of, I definitely agree that you always, like, there's no coincidences in life, right? You always get what you need, and really, yes, fear comes into play, and fear, it has such a huge role, right? And it really, I've come to realize that fear is really just another one of those indicators to us of what needs to be done next, what needs to be faced next. And, I recently, because I've been reading the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and he actually explains it in a very different way. He's all about massive action, right? But the way he explains it is that if you're not going out and creating new problems, then you're not growing, and you're not outside your comfort zone. And really, the only time growth happens is outside your comfort zone. So the way he sees it is he actually asks himself and kind of monitors if he's not feeling any amount of fear, then he's like, there's something wrong. I'm not pushing myself enough, right? And it almost sounds like an extreme way of doing things, but it's true. And Romeo and I, it's like every decision we make, there is a certain amount of uncertainty because we don't know what's going to happen. Like every part of this journey is new, and it's a new experience, and it's constantly a new experience. So you can't know what's going to happen. It's so different from, going to a job and everything being laid out and kind of knowing what you're going to do a year from now or 2 years from now or planning your vacation 8 months from now, right? I can't even think, 2 weeks ahead anymore because anything can happen, literally. My whole life can change in a day, in a moment. And it's because of this approach with constantly going outside of that comfort zone. And, this is really, like, I think, this is one of those defining characteristics, I think. And I mean, why is it a theme? Why is it a theme here, right? Why is it when you study people that have done incredible things, why is it a theme that they've done something that, maybe people thought was impossible? Maybe people look down on them and then they did this thing and now it's no longer impossible, right? And it's people like that go out and really change the world. And it's incredible, right? So when you can go out and actually also surround yourself with more people like that, imagine what happens. Because, sometimes we get stuck a lot in our head, right? And Poe, I kind of want you to touch on this because when you were doing your business plan, how many people did you really have that were pushing or stretching your mind, right? And, this is the principle that we found out about through personal development, through reading, through audios, through all of that. So we knew the importance of really trying to get around people that had already achieved certain things. And, this is one of the topics we had in Pura Vida project where, who do you listen to, who do you follow? And so we had to go out and actually find people, and these people stretched our mind. And it wasn't always the way we expected. There were some moments where we have some stories where people like really just told us how it was, very brutal honesty, and it was like a slap in the face. But it did, they did what they did, and it was something also that we needed, right? Because we always get what we need, and sometimes we just need a huge wake-up call, right? A massive wake-up call. And it's this thing where when you can be in a mastermind in like a group of people like this. So imagine, you're in a group of people where they're constantly pushing their own comfort zone. And now you're in that kind of level of thinking where you're constantly being challenged and you're constantly growing, and also your life is changing and you're changing and you're creating everything really that you want through this process, like through this process of growth, through this process of stretching your mind constantly. And there's another quote I love that once you I forget the exact wording, but it's like your mind can never go back. Once you stretch your mind, it can never contract back to its original dimensions, right? It just keeps stretching, and it's really the possibilities that come in that become possible, right? Because now they're possible for you, because when you meet a certain amount of people and they're doing these crazy things that maybe in regular society people don't do, but you start to see these people and you start to see how they are and how they operate, and you see that it's real, how do you think that stretches your mind? I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? So, I don't know, like, Paul, if you want to touch on that, about that shift, like, how has it helped you to be around people that will stretch you even more? Because I know, too, like, you mentioned a lot that you traveled to the States, too, because you knew this. You knew that you had to get around people that could stretch you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, leaving my corporate job in Jan 2012, I knew prior to that, because maybe a year before that, I started doing a little bit of travel, and that year and 2013 in particular, I went to the US a lot from Australia to hang around like-minded, positive people, and that was fantastic. I mean, I had the time of my life. I'm like, wow, this actually exists in the world where people are very in sync and people think the way similarly to I, which is about fulfilling dreams. So that was wonderful. And at the same time, I was forging little mini masterminds. However, what I've noticed, even in the personal development world, they may not necessarily share your vision. I mean, I think maybe some of them in theory, they think they do. But as I've said before, I'm a big advocate of personal development, but I know when you can take it too far, where you start to become a professional student and you end up doing nothing. You make no inroads towards your dreams. And yeah, I had those masterminds, especially around my business, where it wasn't quite working because I think they wanted to do their own thing, and that's fine. But also, I think this is probably the key point. Some of us were growing and growing heaps, and certain key players weren't growing at all. They were just doing the same thing. And when that starts to happen, there's real clashes within the mastermind, and then it starts losing its momentum, and that's what happened to me. So the shift, I was in hardcore personal development mode and with hardcore personal development people, but I knew that wasn't enough. I needed to be around people that had the mindset but will actually do something. I mean, gosh, you could do personal development, 10 hours a day, but still, it's not going to amount to a result unless you physically do something. You still need to function in this planet unless you figure out how to, with your mind, get certain tasks done. I mean, I haven't figured that out yet, but you still have to do stuff. And so when I was observing Kat and Romeo, I was like, okay, I know these guys have done a lot of personal development. You can tell with their mindset, but they're actually taking action. They've actually got results, and at the same time, they're they're very authentic and real people. And I thought I must have hit the jackpot here. Like, how come I couldn't see the woods for the trees for that long? Like, like that's what happens. It gets dangerous when you are very stubborn and very fixated on your how. I mean, really, the how doesn't matter, like the vehicle, the way, but start noticing signs. Like, she was there for like 6 months, and yeah, I wasn't ready for it. Clearly, I was very fixated on a certain way and to work with certain people, but then opening up my eyes, I realized, yeah, this is my group. This is my tribe. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, Kat. I mean, it's been awesome.
No, I love it. And everything happens for a reason, right? Like there is a reason behind it, and we aligned also at the right time, right? So it's just, it's not because sometimes people think, well, because there's like this topic of getting kind of stuck in that personal development hamster wheel where there's no action kind of being taken. It's just a lot of learning. But if there's things in front of you, like this is kind of going back to that fear, if there's things in front of you, your gut will tell you, your gut is going to tell you to do something, and until you do it, it's just going to stay there. It's just going to sit there, and it's like that feeling won't go away, and you almost can't get rid of it. You can't suppress it because it's kind of like this little thorn in your side, right? When you know you have to do something and you know that maybe something is staring you in the face, but you have all these reasons why you don't need to do it, or an excuse of why it doesn't apply to you, right? And I had that too with many different things. And for years, I had that just in general with living my life, right? I felt like I was waiting constantly, but I had like a million thorns in my side where I just tried to ignore them, and I lived this like very uncomfortable life, right? I forget, Paul, what you said before. That word you used. I can't remember what it was. That was really funny. Pinch. You get pinched. You feel pinched, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's like you live with that, this pinch in you that there's something wrong. And until you face it, then that's the only time things can actually change, right? And it's through action. It's exactly what Poe said. So, it's really amazing. Like, Amy, I mean, congratulations that you took such an action that, like, that was a big pinch for you, right? And you knew that you wanted to do it, and maybe at first you were trying to find reasons of, maybe kind of trying to get it as smooth as possible, right? Because we do this too, where we try to make the situation perfect, and we hope that everything will align and everything will fall into place, and then as we do it, it'll just flow like smooth, right? And it doesn't really happen that way, right? You get what you want, but you almost have to go out and like break shit, right? Right? Romeo and I say that we run fast and we break shit, right? Like we just go for it, and we have made a lot of things happen that way because we could overcome that fear, right? So I mean, for you to do that, Amy, it's just incredible. I don't know if you're on with your mic.
Yep, I'm
Yep,
here.
there you are.
Yeah, I love breaking shit too. So, I like breaking rules. I like not being normal. So I really just feel like this week is the first week like I'm really actually taking action and really starting to make things work. And the more I do it, the more that I read, the more that I see in this group, in my tribe. I love that. I've been saying this is so strange for the last few months. I'm like, I don't have a tribe. Like, I don't have people. And I kept using the word, I don't have a tribe. And then I found you guys and I was like, this is weird. So, yeah, I'm super excited to have my tribe and my people here to support me because yeah, I did take a huge leap of faith, and I don't have a security belt on. I don't have anything to pull me up when I'm almost hitting the ground, except my people and people who understand that it's okay to be a little crazy and it's okay to not follow the rules. And the people who break the rules are the ones who make the changes, the ones that live the most exciting lives. And so I still can't believe that I quit my job. I still can't believe that I'm one of those people. Um, but it's gonna work. And all I know is because I know Kat and I talked about this earlier in the week, is because I'm following my gut. I'm following my intuition. I'm following what feels correct to me. And what didn't feel correct is sitting in that office, getting up. I was starting to get up like 3 hours before I would go to work, just so I had some time to myself before I went into work, because after work I was so exhausted and so tired I couldn't function. And so I would get up super early just so I can have a cup of tea and go for a walk and read a little bit and do some meditation because I couldn't function after work. And I was like, what am I doing? And I'm young and I don't have to live this way, and I know I don't, especially when I was like in awe of all Cat and Romeo's stuff, and I was like, how are they doing that? Pick me. So here I am. So yeah, aligning your dreams with your actions, but then aligning yourself with people who are going to support you, because I can tell you I don't have a lot of people who understand me. I have a lot of people who support me and say, yeah, that's great, Amy, good job, whatever you're doing. But to have people who actually understand what I'm going through and understand why I leapt and why I quit my job before I really had a solid plan, um, I think it takes some really special people to understand that. And despite the fact that we're literally all over the world, we get each other. We totally are on the same plane, and I think it's magical and beautiful that if I'm having a rough time, I know that I can reach out to them. I can reach out to Poe, and even though Poe and I actually haven't even spoken until just now, I know I could reach out to her and
Oh,
say,
cool.
hey, help me out. Yeah, absolutely, because we are on the same wavelength. And yeah, what a beautiful, gentle way of following your dreams instead of having to be salesy or having to listen to salesy people or being terrified of that next step because it's like, oh, they just want me to buy something. I don't know. I don't. But to have a gentle, compassionate group of people that are just like, let's figure this out. Where are you at now, and what can you do now? And we'll start there. I think that's beautiful, and that's actually like attainable. And I'm all about being gentle with people. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm just in
I
awe.
love it. And it's, what you said, Amy, like, even for us, there's a huge difference between, yes, you can have people that support you, right? And they can be like, okay, that's cool what you're doing. But it's a totally different thing when it's people that have done it, right? Because they really understand. When you first told us that you quit, Romeo and I were just like, we were talking a lot about how it felt when we did it, right? And we had no one, right? We had no one that we could talk to that had done anything close to that, and it was just me and him freaking out. We're just like, well, are we crazy? Like, everyone's telling us we're crazy, like that we're just like messing up or whatever, and they don't know it at all what we want to do. They don't understand at all what our dream is. It just, for a lot of people, it looked like we were giving up, but for us, we were going for it, right? And until you can actually talk to people and surround yourself with people that have done it, that have been through it, that's the only people that can understand. Because that fear, that excitement, that uncertainty, that passion that starts to build in you is just, it's indescribable unless you have experienced it, right? And even now, like, I'm getting chills just like thinking about it, because it's such an exciting thing. And you know, having this conversation with you and with Poe, we get it, right? We all get it because we've done it, right? Poe has that experience as well of quitting her corporate job, right? And then it's just like there's this thing where there is no security blanket, and even if you think you have one, it's an illusion. You know, people fool themselves that, you know, with a job or with that it's a security. It's not, because that can be taken away from you, and not by your choice. That's the key thing here. Whereas if you're the one that chooses whatever it is you choose, you know already that things are it's your life. It's your life is in your hands always. But people feel like it isn't, and it's an illusion because it anything can be taken away, you know, and it's only when you start to be very proactive and purposeful in the way that you live that you realize that you're the only one that can let it happen, right? That can let yourself feel like a victim of a circumstance, of anything like that, right? And it's like this huge, massive shift because you become the one sitting in the driver's seat in your life, right? Not in the passenger seat where it just sort of takes you wherever it wants to go, right? You become the driver because you're the one making the decisions now. And this was such a huge shift, right? And yes, there was fear involved and excitement, and you know, there's such a fine line too between fear and excitement. You know, those butterflies in your stomach. It's very similar, right? Like when you're on a roller coaster, and you're just like going, you know, going up and feeling that excitement, right, and that a little bit of that fear, and then you start going down, and it's like an adrenaline rush. And we've talked about this before on a different hangout poll about how it's like, you know, it creates urgency in your life because you realize you may not have 40 years, you may not have 10, you may not have, you know, tomorrow. Are you going to be happy knowing that you didn't make those decisions as soon as you could? Why wait? Why wait, right? So, you know, thank you guys. Like, this was an incredible discussion, and always we have always more to discuss, and that's why we're going to continue. So, you know, these Pura Vida, the bugs are coming. The Pura Vida Project Hangouts are every Thursday night, right? At least for me, 6 p.m. Costa Rica time. Poe is in Australia. She just woke up. Right? So we are actually literally all over the world. And so, you know, we're going to continue and go on to like a different discussion. And thank you guys for tuning in. Connect with us. You know, if you want to find out more about our community and our team, there's a link below. You can check that out and see how, you know, you can get started with us and get access to this internet marketing training that Poe literally has transformed her business with in just the past few weeks, which is crazy town. And you can find out how you can access the mastermind and get started, right? Get started working with us and align, right? Align your vision and align that part of you that wants it, right? So thank you. I see my video has disappeared. Thank you, Poe and Amy. You know, see you guys next week. Pura Vida.